Unveiled, a journey through timeless philosophies and insights. Written and published by the Vault of Alexandria. Opening. All human beings are in search of one thing: inner peace. It is the highest aspiration of the soul, the purest longing of the heart. Though we may seek satisfaction in the outer world, in possessions, pleasures, and accomplishments, nothing external can quench our thirst for serenity. True peace arises from deep within, independent of circumstances. It is the eternal flame that lights your way through the darkest night, the fathomless ocean of stillness beneath the crashing waves of experience. Inner peace is your birthright, your essential nature. It asks nothing more than for you to remember it, so that it may awaken and illuminate your entire being. Sages and philosophers throughout the ages have taught the path to inner peace. Listen now to this ancient wisdom, as relevant today as 1,000 years ago. Quieten your mind and absorb these truths, so that you may abide in the tranquility of your innermost self, now and for all time. First teaching: realize your essential unity. When there is no more separation between this and that, it is called the still point of the Tao. At the still point in the center of the circle, one can see the infinite in all things. Chuang Tzu. At the core of inner peace lies the realization of your essential unity with all of existence. The perception of separateness, of self and other, is an illusion born of the mind. In reality, all things are interconnected and whole, like waves arising from the same vast ocean. When a wave looks only at itself, seeing its edges and comparing its height to other waves, it appears isolated and limited, anxious of its fleeting nature. But when it realizes its true identity as the ocean itself, all fear and separation dissolve. It knows itself as the totality, inseparable from all other waves. How can one wave be in conflict with another, when both are expressions of the same infinite sea? In the same way, when you look only at your personal identity, your body, thoughts, and circumstances, you feel small, disconnected, and lacking. The mind divides the world into me and not me, and so lives in a state of fear and dissatisfaction. But when you drop beneath the mind to the felt sense of pure being, separation falls away. You are no longer a lonely fragment, but the unified field of existence, the boundless ocean from which all life emerges. Just as the sun shines equally on all things, when you rest as open awareness, you embrace all people and circumstances equally. The divisions of race, religion, and nationality are seen as imaginary lines drawn on the ground. All judgments and grievances are released in the recognition that everything is your very own self. How can you be in conflict with anyone or anything, when all beings are waves in your ocean? In the light of unity, the unique beauty of each form can be appreciated without needing to possess or control it. A mighty tree and a fragile blade of grass are both precious, both you at the deepest level. When the mind is no longer constrained by arbitrary walls of separation, it naturally overflows with love and compassion for all beings. To realize your essential unity is to make peace with the whole universe. No longer a stranger in a hostile world, you are at home wherever you are. The circumstances of life cease to be a barrier to joy because you no longer depend on them for fulfillment. Anxiety and lack dissolve in the recognition that you are the fullness of life itself, eternally complete and at peace. Second teaching: surrender to the present moment. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. Lao Tzu. The mind is constantly in motion, jumping between memories of the past and anticipations of the future. This mental restlessness is the root cause of all worry, regret, and dissatisfaction. Peace cannot be found in the past or future because neither are ever available. There is only ever this present moment. Any thought of how things should be or might be is a denial of reality that keeps you trapped in mental suffering. The past cannot be changed and the future cannot be predicted. Struggling against what is as futile as trying to push back the ocean tide. The waves of life continue to roll in, indifferent to your preferences. In a garden, some plants thrive while others wither and die. New shoots emerge as old branches fall away. The gardener does not resist this natural flux by clinging to how things were or grasping for how he wants them to be. He accepts and appreciates the garden as it is, moment by moment. In the same way, inner peace flowers when you relinquish the need for life to be a certain way and simply allow it to unfold. This is the practice of surrender, not a passive fatalism, but a courageous acceptance of what is. When you drop out of the mind's resistance and into alignment with the present moment, struggle and stress fall away. Surrendering is not giving up, but giving in to the flow of existence that is already moving through you. A river does not strain to reach the sea, but effortlessly follows the path of least resistance. By trusting its natural current, the river arrives at the vast ocean without struggle. In the same way, stop exhausting yourself fighting with reality. Surrender into the present and let it carry you like a river to the sea. Treat each moment as a friend, not an enemy to be conquered. Welcome every experience without judgment. What arises is not your choice, but how you meet it is. Will you resist what is and suffer, or embrace this moment as an honored guest? Even challenging circumstances can be faced with peace when there is total surrender. Every so-called problem is an opportunity to deepen in acceptance. Pain is inevitable, but struggle is optional. In surrendered action, you do what needs to be done without inner conflict. When the mind is fighting what is, there is no peace. When the mind is surrendered, there is no conflict. You are the vast sky of awareness in which all thoughts, feelings, and sensations arise and dissolve like passing clouds. Be like the sky, allow everything to come and go without resistance. Surrender is the ultimate acceptance. It is the deep yes to the present moment that liberates you from struggle. There is no inner peace without it. Third teaching, observe your thoughts. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. The world of form is in constant flux, a ceaseless arising and dissolving of circumstances. Yet most suffering is not caused by external conditions, but attachment to thoughts about them. It is the mind's interpretation of events, not the events themselves, that causes distress. Thoughts are not facts, but mental movies projected onto the screen of awareness. When you get caught up in the mind's stories, you lose sight of the simple truth of the present moment. The unobserved mind is like a wild horse, dragging you this way and that based on its fleeting impulses. The way to reign in this unruly mind is through observing it with calm detachment. When you witness thoughts as a passive spectator, their hypnotic spell is broken. Just as watching a movie is different than being absorbed in it, when thoughts are observed, you are no longer entangled in their drama. Imagine the mind is a deep pond. When the surface is stirred up by the winds of thought, the water becomes muddied and agitated. But when the winds die down, the pond naturally returns to a state of pristine stillness and clarity. By simply observing thoughts as they pass through the pond of the mind, without holding on to or indulging them, they lose their power to disturb your peace. The key is to observe without judgment, to watch the mind with an attitude of open acceptance. Don't try to fight or suppress thoughts, as this only creates more inner conflict. What you resist persists. Instead, welcome all thoughts like clouds passing through a vast sky. Whether a thought is pleasant or unpleasant, allow it to arise and dissolve without interference. See how often the mind pulls you into imaginary scenarios of hope and fear. Notice how it obsessively rehashes the past and speculates about the future. Step back from this mental noise and recognize it for what it is, just a stream of fleeting appearances with no inherent reality. Thoughts only have the power that you give them through identification. When you realize that you are the witnessing presence behind all thoughts, their compulsive hold on you is released. You are no longer a servant to the mind's whims, but its master. From this space of loving detachment, you can use the mind as a tool rather than being used by it. Whenever you find yourself lost in thought, gently bring your attention back to the breath. Anchor yourself in the simplicity of the present moment. The breath is always happening now, so it serves as a bridge from the mind to pure presence. Observe thoughts like a scientist studying an organism under a microscope. The more you shine the light of awareness on the mind, the less power it has to pull you into its virtual realities. No matter how compelling a thought may be, it is not who you are. You are the awareness that sees the thought. Don't believe everything you think. The path to peace is paved with a quiet mind. As you learn to rest as the witness behind the mind, an unshakable serenity will emerge. Fourth teaching: embody effortless effort. By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try, the world is beyond the winning. Lao Tzu. Most people live in a state of constant striving, always seeking to achieve goals or change their circumstances. This attitude of struggle creates endless suffering because it is rooted in the assumption that peace and happiness lie somewhere in the future. But the future never comes. There is only ever now. The root of struggle is resistance to what is. When the mind is divided between wanting things to be different than they are, it is inevitable that frustration and stress arise. There is a vast difference between setting an intention and taking action versus being psychologically attached to a particular outcome. The first is a surrendered doing, the second is struggle. Nature does not strain or strive, but exists in a state of dynamic equilibrium. A seed does not try to become a flower, it simply follows its natural unfolding. There is growth and movement, but no resistance. Struggle arises when the limited mind interferes with this organic process, imposing its arbitrary ideas of what should be. The way of inner peace is not one of passivity or stagnation, but effortless effort, the perfect balance between surrender and action. Like a martial artist who masters his craft to the point where complex movements happen spontaneously without thought, effortless effort arises when the mind is one with the present moment. This may sound paradoxical, but consider, is it an effort for the heart to beat or the lungs to breathe? The processes of life happen naturally without any sense of doorship. In the same way, when you are established in presence, the appropriate actions arise automatically without the friction of mental resistance. Just as a flower does not have to try to bloom, but naturally follows the impulse of life, action without effort blossoms when you get out of your own way. This is not a matter of passively waiting, but actively tuning into the present moment so completely that separation between you and it dissolves. Action then arises from a place of totality rather than lack. An archer who is in complete harmony with his bow and target will loose the arrow effortlessly, one with the entire process. There is no separation between the aimer and the aimed, only a singular flow. But if the archer is distracted by thoughts of hitting the bullseye, the natural art of it is disrupted. His need to achieve a future outcome creates a gap between himself and the present moment. Struggle is a symptom of partiality, while effortless effort is a sign of wholeness. Like a river that does not resist any of the rocks or bends in its path, the surrendered mind does not hold back from what is. Trusting its natural current, it flows without holding back. Action becomes a joyous dance rather than a forced march. Whenever you notice yourself straining or trying to control, let it be a reminder to soften into the present. Ask yourself, what is this moment asking of me? How can I fully participate in the process of life right now? Then do what needs to be done, holding nothing back. Let go of attachment to outcomes and simply pour yourself into the task at hand. This is the path of effortless effort, the way of water that flows around all obstacles. There is no forcing, but a relaxed vigilance. When the limited me gets out of the way, the unlimited power of life can flow through you unimpeded. Effort falls away, yet everything gets done. Stop struggling and start surrendering. Do whatever you do with totality, and you will know true peace. Fifth teaching: serve others selflessly. Men are not punished for their sins, but by them. Albert Hubbard. The root of all suffering is self-centeredness. When the ego is in charge, every situation is filtered through the lens of what's in it for me. How does this affect me? This narrow fixation breeds endless conflict because it pits your interests against those of others. But the irony is that the more you focus on your own happiness, the more it eludes you. Self-concern is a trap that keeps you in a state of anxiety and lack. The antidote to this limited way of being is the practice of selfless service. When you shift your attention from getting to giving, a weight is lifted off your shoulders. The heart expands beyond the confines of the ego and experiences the joy of communion. In serving others, you step out of the painful illusion of separation and realize the truth of your interexistence with all beings. Consider a fruit tree. Does it hoard its fruit for itself or freely offer it to all who hunger? A tree does not withhold its bounty out of fear of lack. It gives, and in doing so accomplishes the purpose of its existence. You are no different. You come into the fullness of your being when you offer your gifts in service of the whole. The great sages all taught the way of selfless love. Buddha declared, "Set your heart on doing good. Do it over and over again, and you will be filled with joy." Jesus told his disciples, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." When you relinquish self-centeredness and give yourself fully to the present task, a deep fulfillment emerges. Serving others can take countless forms. It may be as simple as listening with compassion, offering a kind word, or doing someone a favor without expectation of return. When the heart's orientation shifts from me to we, opportunities to make a difference are everywhere. No act of love is insignificant, because even the smallest gesture can have a profound ripple effect. Mother Teresa said, "We cannot do great things on this earth, only small things with great love." It is the intention behind your actions that matters most. When you serve with no agenda other than to be a conduit for love, you become a powerful force for healing in the world. This does not mean neglecting your own needs or becoming a martyr. In fact, self-care is essential if you wish to sustainably serve others. But self-care arises from a different place than self-centeredness. Taking time to nurture your well-being is like putting on your own oxygen mask first, so you are then able to help those around you. True service has no trace of egoic motivation. The left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. There is no accounting of merits and demerits, no scorecard of what you gave and what you got in return. In selfless service, the very distinction between self and other dissolves. It is not you serving them, but the one serving itself. When you live to give, life gives back to you 1,000-fold. The rewards of selfless service are not always tangible, but they are more real and enduring than any worldly gain. In offering yourself fully to the present moment, you open the floodgates of grace. Love cannot help but flow into a heart that has made itself empty of self-concern. To cultivate the spirit of service, look for opportunities to make someone else's life a little easier or brighter. Even if it's something as simple as a smile or a kind word, give it freely without anticipating anything in return. Notice how it feels to step outside of your self-referential thoughts and connect with another being. Whenever you encounter suffering, let your heart respond with compassion. Ask yourself, how can I help? You may not be able to solve someone's problems, but you can always offer your caring presence. When you make yourself available as an instrument of love, you become a conduit for grace. It is a great paradox, but the more you give of yourself, the more you gain. The more you focus on serving others, the happier and more fulfilled you become. This is because selfless service aligns you with your true nature, which is love. Love is the ultimate win-win. What you give to another, you simultaneously give to yourself. Conclusion: remember who you are. The path of inner peace is not so much a journey to a foreign land as it is a coming home to your deepest self. You are the very peace you seek, the eternal stillness behind all temporary forms. The practices we have explored, from realizing your essential unity, to surrendering to the present moment, observing your thoughts, cultivating effortless effort, and serving others selflessly, all serve one purpose: to dissolve the veils that obscure.